Did you know that if you fly all the way to Fukuoka and you're just gonna be shopping at Canal City all day, it will be like you go to Singapore just for Marina Bay Sands, or go Malaysia just for KLCC alone. Don't get me wrong, you do what you want, but you could be missing the point here. I have been to Fukuoka for 3 times now. In my opinion, Fukuoka, or the Kyushu region, is all about its natural beauty, period, and is best enjoyed by car, if possible. I will even go as far as to say that if you are thinking to fly all the way in just to spend 3-4 days only in Fukuoka City, please reconsider. Fukuoka is not your Tokyo or Osaka. It's not for your close distance shopping quest, and all its natural beauty spots are scattered all around. Also, it's best you have a rough idea of how big actually is Kyushu. Look, if you are driving from the top of Kyushu, Fukuoka here, to Kagoshima, the bottom of Kyushu, it's only gonna take 3.5 hours. For Malaysians, it's a typical drive from KL to JB only, or from KL to Seremban if you are stuck in jam. For Singaporeans, it's like half your time crossing Tuas checkpoint during every other long weekend only. Later on, you will see that my recommendations below are all well within your driving capacities. At least for a Malaysian or Singaporean, it's very achievable. How about bullet train? Yes, you could do trains, but for my suggested routes below, it's only possible for half of them. But I suppose you could work around it. So, road trip is the best way to go, no doubt about it. And it's almost as enjoyable as any other road trips in the States, Europe or New Zealand that I've done before. Personally, I need rice and Asian food from time to time, so I find road trips in Fukuoka to be the best ones so far. Now, if you are someone who fancies road trip, or if you don't mind trying, I believe this is the most comprehensive guide you will ever need for your Fukuoka or Kyushu trip. First off, let's assume a normal 9 to 10 days road trip. Day 1. After touching down Fukuoka, you're gonna secure your car, be familiarized with your car, and drive straight down to Kumamoto, the heart of Kyushu. It will be a relaxing highway drive, and it's gonna take less than 2 hours without breaking a sweat, I promise you. Mostly because of how Kyushu Japanese drive. If you are shocked to find porn and adult toys sold just next to kids' toy section in Dodonki, wait till you see how Kyushu Japanese drive. They are so incredibly gentle in the road, they could purposely pause by the roadside just to let you through at 80 km per hour, or less. And if you are used to do more than 90 km per hour on a highway, you are considered one of the faster cars already. I can vouch for you that you will see none of the Malaysian or Singaporean type of high beam, stick up your ass style of toxic cutthroat driving down there. Now, back in Kumamoto. Obviously the castle is a must visit, followed by Suizenshi Garden if you have time, and then ramen dinner. In the evening, hop onto streetcars and start your shopping operations, as you may not have the convenience to do so in the next few days, because we would be on the road mostly and all the shopping spots close around 7 or 8. Day 2. You're gonna spend 2.5 hours to drive down the highway to Kagoshima, and you're gonna spend 2 days down there. On the way down, you could consider dropping by Sogi Falls and Kirishima Jingu to kickstart your waterfalls and shrines expeditions. Not only historically significant for being the last stand of samurai, to me Kagoshima feels like Los Angeles or Phuket, where it has classic rows of palm tree by the side, breezy seaside, low skyline kind of vibe that you couldn't find elsewhere in the whole of Japan. In these 2 days, you should do ferry trips to Sakurajima volcano, enjoy the udon while you're on it, also try sand bath, and most importantly, go catch the swimming salmon with grilled trout, both in Ibusuki. At night, Again, do your shopping and go enjoy the Kagoshima pork shabu shabu. For the more famous shabu shabu spots, do reserve earlier prior to visiting them. Or you could simply go down and register your name on the spot to try to reserve for later if you are lucky. Day 4 is gonna be the most challenging, not only having to drive the longest hours but also the windiest roads. First, you're gonna drive 3.5 hours to Takashino or the Mount Aso area, and then drive another 2 hours to spend the rest of the evening in Kurokawa, the smallest town in this entire trip. Why Takashino? Obviously for its magnificent gorge, which I haven't had a chance to take its boat ride even after 3 visits all these years. Suppose Takashino is too out of the way for you. You could just hang around Mount Aso area for its view, or have some amazing raw beef lunch around the area. You will definitely need reservations to get into the most famous Imakin Shokudo. As for Kurokawa, it's special because it's authentic, seclusive and exclusive. Basically, it's a misty town, an idyllic hidden gem of nothing except for onsens and roikans. If you plan to do any roikans at all, Kurokawa is your best place to do it. Wear your kimono, walk around the town, indulge in the serene, and you will feel like you are transported back to 17th century, and I promise you this will be the highlight of your entire trip. Now day 5. You could do the suspension bridge or Nagasaki Falls in the morning before you decide if you are gonna spend the night later either in Yufuin or in Beppu. Up to you. To have the best of both, you could drive 2 hours to visit Beppu first during the noon and then 1 hour back to rest in Yufuin later. In Beppu, you could visit 1 or 2 of the colorful hells and have some of the biggest and fattiest sushi lunch there. Whereas in Yufuin, you could stroll along its main street and Kirin Lake and experience Roikan there as well. Some might say Yufuin is akin to Kurokawa, to which I strongly disagree, and I increasingly find it to be more and more commercialized, not in a good way though. But some may find stopping by multiple Beppu hells make no sense as well. So hey, what do I know? To each your own, I guess. But choose one to crash for the night, either the bigger Beppu or the smaller Yufuin. Day 6 is gonna be a long yet relaxing highway drive. You're gonna drive 2.5 hours to Nagasaki, and you're gonna spend day 6 and day 7 there. On top of its rich history, Nagasaki to me is beautiful because it's like rojak that it has a great mix of everything. It's modern enough, but you still could feel the rustic charm. It's Asian obviously, but you still get hints of Western influence and churches here and there. And it's basically at seaside, but somehow the city is spreading all over the hills, and its hill view is quite spectacular. So do spend 2 days there to visit your Peace Park, museum if you are into history, Mount Inasa, Clover Park, or even book a morning tour to Gunkanjima. Like Takashino, even after 3 visits, I have yet to step foot onto the island itself, thanks to weather. Not to forget, Nagasaki boasts a superb night view from Mount Inasa, and the Chiwata train station not too far off has one of the best sunset view ever. Go for them if your time and weather permit. At night, go for champon dinner and hop in streetcars and shop. If you are non-Chinese, go explore Chinatown too. Now, it's coming to the end of your journey. Day 8 and 9. You're gonna drive 2 hours back to Fukuoka where everything started and spend your last 2 days here. Day 8, while en route, you could do Yanagawa, Cobblestones, Dazaifu Tamangu, Sleeping Buddha, and Ohori Park in the day before you crash in Fukuoka. The boat ride in Yanagawa is pretty slow if I'm frank. You could skip it, but don't you dare skip the unagi rice, which is the bomb. In the night, you could walk around Canal City, but don't worry if you can't finish the entire mall. It's just another huge mall. Same for Ichiran. If you can't make it even though it's open 24/7, don't worry about it because the package one would taste similar, minus the vibes of course. Bonus: Now let's just say you're high and still inching for more and want to go out with a bang without any regret at all. I strongly suggest on day 9, you drive 2.5 hours to Motonosumi Inari Shrine and then another 30 minutes to visit Tsunoshima, crossing the bridge of course. Motonosumi Inari Shrine is perhaps the second most majestic shrine you will ever see all your life, after the Hiroshima one. Similarly, Tsunoshima Bridge is also perhaps the second most picturesque bridge of its kind, after the Okinawa one. I hope you will find the last day or long drive worthwhile for just these two spots alone. In the evening, complete the rest of the usual touristy spots in Fukuoka and spend the night sobbing solemnly, if you will, for having to return to reality the next day. Or you could visit Gundam in Lalaport at 7 PM and have some late night last supper in any of the yatai or sushiro. With that, we conclude our road trips and bid sayonara. What's best about road trips is you could customize all you want and how impromptu you want it to be. The journey above is solely my preference based on my actual experience so far, with the obvious intention of casting the net wide enough for you to capture the natural beauty of Kyushu in the shortest time possible. Do let me know if you would like me to do another in-depth video on summer tips about Fukuoka or Kyushu. I hope my video could help you in some way, and I wish you a pleasant trip ahead and looking forward to you sharing your magical trip with me. Cheers mate.